Academy Potters. This is our flipped video for making hanging vessels. Just to go through a few supplies, and what you're going to need is you're going to need a bucket that has some slip in it. Slip is watered down clay. It's that stuff that gets in your bucket while you're throwing. It works great for when you're hand building also. We have two types of clay in the studio. We have a darker body clay right here, and we also have a lighter body clay, which is right here. For this demo, I'm going to use the lighter one. You can choose which one you want to use. So I'm going to open up this bag. And as of right now, when the clay is brand new, there's no air bubbles in it. So it is good to go. But, well, let's see. You're going to take your wire tool. This is a wire tool. We're going to cut these. We want them to be about softball size shape. So I'm going to cut, you're going to make at least 3 of these. I would make more just in case something happens to it. So I'm really just making big cubes here with this clay. So here I have 4 cubes to work on. When you are done with the bag of clay, make sure that you close it up so that air doesn't get in it. Okay, so there's our clay. The first thing that you're going to do is start to pound this into a ball. Now again, since the clay's brand new, there should be no air in it or no air bubbles. So we're not going to do any wedging. I'm not going to show you how to wedge quite yet. We'll do that once we get to throwing. So once you get your cube of clay, you want to pound it into a ball. If it's already in a cube, you can kind of use the table to tap those corners in and then go to pounding. I'm pounding it so that I don't have any like holes or divots in it. I'm not folding the clay over itself. Just once again, getting it into a nice smooth ball. Now for your first pinch pot, I want you to start with about the size of a softball, okay? And to strive for a level 4, you could try to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But this is a good size to start with. So once you have your solid sphere, you're going to take your thumb and you're going to push your thumb down into the clay. Now, you want to make sure that you don't push your thumb all the way through. You can kind of test it by saying, okay, it's about how much clay I have left there at the bottom. Once you have that hole, it's going to look like this. You're going to cup it in your hand and you're going to slowly and evenly start pinching this. Now when I'm pinching it like this, okay? I'm not pinching it like this. It's really important that you do this as you're turning your clay. You want your clay or the walls of your clay to be nice and even. If they're not even, like if you have a really thin spot and a really thick spot, your vessel will crack. So take time. You can see kind of what it's looking like in here. You can see my fingerprints a little bit, but again, it's a very gradual process. I'm trying to thin the bottom out a little bit, so I'm pushing it into the palm of this hand as I'm turning it. Your finger marks are going to kind of overlap each other, and as I'm doing this, you can see that the pot is getting bigger. Now, it's very easy when you're doing this for your pot to end up kind of flopped over like a bowl. Make sure that you're applying pressure on both sides when you're pinching and kind of pinching it inward to keep the rim of this pot a little bit smaller. If you do decide you want it to be more of a bowl shape, you can do that a little bit later. Now, once I get the basic shape, I'm going to leave it. You can either put it in front of the fan upside down, or you can leave it on a board, cover it up until next class, and it will stiffen up a little bit. If we try to take it too far right now, the clay is so soft that it's just gonna start slumping. For now, for this pot, I don't want to have a flat bottom on the inside or the outside. So when I go to put it on my board, I'm going to flip it over like so, okay? So this is still pretty thick. I could probably work on this a little bit more. The first day you're gonna work on these, it's gonna be kind of like you're roughing out the shape that you want. You're not getting it totally perfect right now, but you're getting this shape, okay? And then I'm gonna put it on my board upside down. And I have some that I started yesterday, and these are much more firm, okay? So, you know, it takes a little bit more force to try to move this. This is the step that hopefully your pots will be in the second day, and you can work on more refining your shapes. So what I've done with this is gone back in and even tried to stretch it out even more. So again, I'm just going around and around with little pinches to grow that pot, stretch the limits of the clay, and make it a little bit larger. At this point, you could go right into your hanging vessel. You could take a knife, you could cut the rim any shape, lots of options that you can do. But before we get there, I want to show you how you can actually make a sphere out of 2 pinch pots. So here I have 2 pinch pots. This pinch pot I tried to get more of an elongated shape, and I just did that by pushing my hand down more, cupping it in the other hand to try to get it a little bit more round. So to make a sphere, or in this case, the shape, you're going to put those 2 pieces together. Now with a knife or a tool, you can see this rim is a little bit wobbly. So I'm just going to trim off this side. Using a knife would be better. Put those 2 together. I'm going to try not to like press this on the table much, because then it'll flatten that bottom out. Okay, so for now I'm just kind of pressing these together so those rims meet up a little bit. So this is the shape that we have. At this point, it comes into slipping and scoring. So again, I'm not going to lay it down like this because I don't want that bottom to get flat. I'm going to flip it over like this. I'm going to grab my slip that's in the bottom of my bucket and a needle tool. This skill is called, technique is called slipping and scoring. Anytime you want to attach 2 pieces of clay, you need to slip and score. It's kind of like the glue of ceramics. So I take the needle tool, this is called a needle tool, and I mark up the areas that I want to attach. And you can see I'm really kind of digging into that clay. I'm not just making, you know, teeny tiny shallow marks. I'm really digging it up. And then I need to do that on this side. So same thing. This might take you a little bit longer. I'm going a little bit quick because of the video. Like so. And then you can just take your finger with your slip. You don't need a ton of slip. You don't want it gushing out all over the place. You're just going to kind of put the slip on that rim. Once you slip both sides, you're going to score it again. So it's slip, I'm sorry, score, slip, and then you're going to score it again, preferably going the opposite direction. We really want to kind of disturb the surface of that rim on both pieces. So it looks something like that. We'll do it to this one. And then we're ready to put these two pieces together. So I'm gonna line them up. And at first I'm just gonna start pressing them together. Now the cool thing that happens here is that air actually gets trapped in here. And so it works as a support on the inside so that you can apply some pressure and your pot's not gonna collapse. But now we have this seam. You can do a couple things. You could roll out a coil and slip and score coil on here to hide that seam more, but I'm just gonna go with it. Here I'm just using my fingers to kind of smooth that out. Kind of trying to push the clay together, like so. We do have some tools that can help you with this.